Good day, everyone. I would like to begin with a question. Imagine you submit an assignment today. Would you rather wait for a week for feedback or receive meaningful feedback within minutes? That helps you improve immediately. Most of us will gonna choose the second option. Now imagine a classroom where every student receives timely, personalized feedback that helps them understand their strengths, identify the areas of improvement, and take ownership of their learning. This is no longer a vision for the future. It is becoming a real reality through artificial intelligence. My name is Kashan Khan, and as a computer science educator, I'm so passionate about using technology to enhance teaching and learning in the classroom. Today, I'll be sharing my master's class presentation, Empowering Classroom Using AI to Improve Student Feedback in High School. Together, we will explore how AI can support teachers, provide meaningful feedback to students, and create more engaging and effective learning experiences and environment. Let us begin our journey into the future of the feedback. Now, before I begin, right, please just take a moment to look over these expectations for today's masterclass. Now, by the end of today's masterclass, we will achieve 5 key milestones together, or there are actually 5 learning targets which we are aiming towards. First, we are going to explore at least 3 specific AI tools that can safely handle feedback automation in your classroom. From there, what we'll do, we'll break down exactly how structured prompting ensures and the AI responses actually align with your school rubrics. Then what we'll do, we'll then work on how to apply specific prompt formulas to grade a real sample assignment while carefully evaluating the AI's output for accuracy, tone, and underlying grading bias. Finally, we will pull all of this together to design a seamless classroom workflow, one that effectively guides your student to take that AI feedback and use it for their own independent revisions. Before we get into our first milestone, I would like to take a moment to talk about our masterclass takeaways and what you will be ultimately walk away with today's session. So the 4 key takeaways we should all take back to our classroom from today's masterclass. First, AI optimizes teachers' time. It handles the repetitive routine grading tasks so you can focus on what matters the most. Now, the second is rubric alignment requires precise prompting. To get the best results from these tools, we must be clear and specific our instructions or within our instructions. Third, human oversight is non-negotiable. AI, we all know that AI is a powerful assistant, but the teacher's expert eye and final judgment are irreplaceable. And fourth, AI feedback drives through students' autonomy, right? So giving a student instant, friendly checkpoints empowers them to take full ownership of their writing. Now, before we dive into the core of today's session, I really want to start with a quick game, right? So I'm going to launch a kind of 60-second challenge in our Zoom chat right now. You can think of a word as well. And I want everyone to take a trip down to that memory lane, right? Think back to when you were a student in high school, or even think about your routine as a teacher right now. Think about one word that describes how you feel when you see a stack of 30 or 40 student essays or assignments on your table, sitting on your desk, waiting to be graded. You can also use chat actually as well to type that word too. Now, if you have typed or think about a word exactly like in a gray cloud, in this gray cloud, overwhelmed, stressed, tired, heavy, and endless, this is what we call the traditional red pen workload. It takes so much time and it wears us as a teacher down. But now let us look at the right side of our screen, right? And completely flip the script. Imagine you are a student and you just finish a tough first draft of your assignment. Think or type one word in the chat again, showing how you would feel if you could get helpful, instant feedback to improve your work right then and there. Now you can see that the total shifts in the energy, right? Now the words, the one in our bright speech bubble, relieved, excited, motivated, and supported, came to our mind. The big blue arrow in the middle is our goal today, empowering classroom. And the gap between those two feelings is exactly why we are here today. As educators, we want to give that instant motivation to our students. But we do not have the hours to do it without burning out. So today, what we are going to learn how to bridge that gap safely and effectively using artificial intelligence or AI. Let's look at our first destination, the actual tools that can help us make this happen. Now, the first platform I want to share with you is Magic School AI, which is an incredibly powerful option because it is built exclusively for educators. Unlike other AI tools, this is a highly secure educational platform that strictly complies with school standards, privacy standards, and meaning your high schoolers' data stays completely safe and is never used to train any sort of model. And what makes it is a game changer for our daily workflow, it is its versatility, right? So it features built-in tools that handles automated rubric creation in a clear customizable table format. From there you can use those exact criteria for instant feedback drafting too. Now, letting you quickly generate high quality personalized comments for an entire class of written assignment with just a few clicks. Now, let us look how this fits into our next tool. Now, the next tool is called Brisk Teaching, which takes a completely different but incredibly convenient approach, right? What it does, it instead of forcing you to open a separate website and copy and paste student work, Brisk function as an extension, as a Chrome extension. Offering embedded workflow support, this means it operates directly inside your existing tools like Google Doc or your learning management system. Because it is right there in the document with you, it allows you to generate real-time feedback on a student essay or assignment in a matter of seconds. But what truly sets Brisk apart is its revision history analysis feature. With a single click, it has actually replaced the student entire writing process, right? What it does, showing you how the document came together. It is an incredible way to check the authenticity of a student work and understand their authentic writing habits, all while drafting targeted feedback. Now let's look at our third option. Now we have all heard about Claude, right? So most of us have probably used it as a standard chatbot. But Claude Cowork Text takes the technology to a completely different level by acting as an agentic assistant right on your computer. Instead of you copy pasting text back and forth, what it can do, it can actually work with local files and folders to provide deeply nuanced and human-like feedback that feels incredibly natural and tailored to each individual student. But where it becomes a massive asset for teachers is its capacity for class-wide trend analysis. You can point Claude at an entire folder of a student assignment and it will automatically analyze all of them to spot common struggles and grammar patterns, right? That is what that this Claude cowork will gonna do. It also try and analyze the conceptual gaps across your whole class. This gives you instant data to adjust your next lesson plan. Best of all, Cloud Coworks actually operates with a strict student data security in mind, right? So what it does, it processes files locally within a secure desktop environment, ensure that your school privacy boundaries are fully respected while it does the heavy lifting. Now that we have looked at these platforms, let's do a quick check-in, right? I would love to know, what is your go-to AI tool? You can type your answers directly into the chat box as well, right? You can pick either Magic School, Brisk, or Claude Cowork, or if there's any other tool you already use and find useful, drop that instead. Now, what we have done, actually, we have now hit our first goal for today. We looked at three great AI tools that can safely help you give feedback to your students. We learned how Magic is School AI keeps the student data safe. We saw how Brisk Teaching works right inside your Google Docs or inside your Chrome extension to save you the steps. And we also have looked at how Claude Cowork can help you find common trends across your whole class. Let us move to our next step. We will learn how to write simple prompts to get the best results. So most people think that writing a prompt is just like typing a few words into Google. But to get the best feedback from AI, we need to change how we think, right? So let us watch this short video to see why structured programming matters most and how it can completely unlock the true power or true potential of these tools. Take a look.
Most people think prompting is just like Googling. Type a few words in a search bar and hope for answers. Just like for coding is not typing, it's engineering around architecture. The same for prompting is not about writing commands. It's about thinking, structuring, and designing intelligence. When you prompt, you're not just asking, you're building. And like any system, it needs structure. Your prompt is how you collaborate with the AI. And those who learn to think in prompts, they'll build products and platforms with a level of leverage most people never see. Most people use fewer than 12 words in a prompt, but these models were trained on massive data sets, which means they unlock less than 1% of their potential. And one of the best ways to build a powerful prompt is to ask the model itself to help you structure it. This is where the real prompt architecture starts, with a formula and proven techniques to guide the model.
Now, as we just saw in the video, many people fall into the trap of using very, very simple prompt, right? So when we give the AI a vague instruction, like just telling it to grade this essay, we get very, very generic results, right? So the AI has to guess what we want, which often leads to feedback that is too broad to actually help our students grow. To fix this, we need to shift our focus to high accuracy prompting. This means that we give the AI a clear structure, a specific goal, and explicit guidelines to follow. When we provide a well-designed prompt, the AI stops guessing and start giving us highly precise targeted feedback. Let us move on to see the exact formula we can use to make high accuracy prompting simple and easy for your daily workflow. So how do we build a high accuracy prompt, right? So we use a simple three-step formula. And this is what I'm going to explain you in this slide as well. That first, what we're going to do, we will provide clear context. This means We tell the AI about our classroom, the grade level of our students, and the specific goals of the assignment. Second point is we define the role and expectations. We tell the AI exactly how to act. For example, telling it to behave like an expert high school English teacher who gives encouraging but precise feedback. Third, we align with assessment criteria. We give the AI exact rubric so its feedback matches how we actually grade. By using this formula, you will get great results every single time. So once we have our formula ready, right? So what we need to do is we need to set clear boundaries so the AI stays on track. We do this in three simple ways, and this is what, again, I'm going to try and explain you in this particular slide. So the first way is we use numeric scoring, right? What we do, we tell the AI to give exact point based on our rubric, like a 4 out of 5. So there is no confusion about the grade. The second is we apply negative constraints. What is negative constraint, right? This is just a simple way of telling the AI what not to do. For example, we can tell it, do not rewrite the student's essay or do not use overly complex words. Third, we define concise feedback. We tell the AI exactly how long the response should be, like keeping it under 3 sentences so it stays short and sweet for the students. Now, by setting these boundaries, you keep total control over the AI's output. Now we have now achieved our second learning target, right? Learning objective. We just learn how structured programming ensures that the AI feedback aligns perfectly with your school rubrics. By using our simple formula and setting clear boundaries, now you know how to keep the AI accurate, concise, and complete under your control. Now that we have learned the art of prompting, we are ready to move on to our next step or next learning objective, seeing exactly how this works in a live classroom setting. Now, our third learning objective is prompt application, right? This is where we put everything we learn into action through three simple steps. Same structure I'm gonna follow. In this slide, there are three simple steps. The first is we will apply structured prompt. We will use our new formula on a real example high school assignment. Second, what we do, we will generate targeted feedback. We will see how fast the AI creates clear notes for the student based on our rubric. The third is we will review and refine the text. Remember, you are a teacher, so you always check the work to make sure it is perfect. Let us see how this actually works. Now, to see how this works in real life, let us look at our case study today. So we are looking at an 11th grade augmentative writing task. The students had to write about green infrastructure policies. To get a good grade, their papers needed a clear thesis with two supporting claims, at least two verified resources, and arguments based on real evidences. We also expect our formal academic tone and clean, logical organization as well for that particular assignment. But as we all know, student drafts usually have a few common weaknesses, right? Often we see weak claim where their ideas are just too broad, right? So we also see limited evidence analysis, meaning they drop a quote into a paper but do not explain it, right? So finally, what we often find, poor organization with missing translation between the paragraphs. Next, we will see how our structured prompt can point out these exact issues and save you from. Now, let us look at how we build the prompts by turning our rubric into clear AI commands, right? So we do this with three simple actions. First, we convert rubric into instructions. Instead of just giving the AI a generic rubric, we tell it exactly how to read and use each scoring line. Second, we target specific gaps. We instruct the AI to look out for those common student weaknesses we just talk about, like missing transition or weak claims. Now, the third one is we align feedback with the standards. Like this, what this does, this ensures every note the AI create matches your state or school goals perfectly, right? So when you build your prompt this way, you get 10 times higher precision into your analysis. The AI stops giving generic praise and start giving deep, useful feedback. Let us see what this prompts look like. Now, here is exactly what the AI gives us when we use a structured prompt. The feedback is very clean, organized, and very easy for a student to read and to understand, right? So first, it highlights the key strength, right? It tells the student they have a clear, direct thesis, right, in paragraph one, and praise their use of historical data from 1920 according to the assignment, right? Second, it shows areas of improvement. Instead of just giving the paper is weak, it points out exactly what the gaps are. Like the second claim, lacking sources, and the transit nodes being too broad. Now, the third one is it provides clear revision steps. This tells the student exactly what to do. Next, add one verified statistics to the paragraph number three and rewrite the final sentence to link back to the main thesis. Now, this simple layout actually takes away the guesswork for the student and gives them a clear pathway to get better. Now, here in this slide, take a look at the screen on the left side, right? So here, a teacher actually that teacher did, the teacher uploaded a student essay and simply asked Gemini for feedback. The result, you see the result. The result is a generic three-sentence response that tells the student their work is decent, but offers no actionable steps for improvement. Now look at the other side of the screen. This is the exact same assignment, but this time what teacher does, the teacher used a structured prompt by defining a specific role. It says, acting as a biology professor and provide a clear rubric, the AI transform a detailed grading assistant. It breaks down scores by criteria, highlights precise strengths, and provides a bulleted list of actionable next steps. The takeaway is very, very clear, right? So AI is only as good as the instruction we give, right? To get high quality feedback for our students, we need to design high quality prompts. This particular phenomenon is very, very clear now. Now let's take a look into this comparison chart, right? Which perfectly shows the massive difference between a structured and a generic prompting, right? When we use a structured prompting, what it does, giving the AI clear context, defining its role and inputting our assessment criteria, we achieve a 92% rubric match, right? This path leads to high quality, rich, and tailored feedback that is highly specific, actionable, and aligned with your goals. On the other hand, generic prompting with a vague input and no role gives us only a 45% rubric match. This results in low quality, surface level feedback that is often too generic or unclear to provide much value to the student. The data makes it very, very clear, right? Taking an extra moment to structure your prompt is what guarantees a successful rubric aligned results every time. Now we have now achieved our third learning objective, right? So we have just put our prompt formulas to work by grading a real sample high school assignment. By taking the time to structure our prompt with a clear, very clear context, defining rules and criteria, we saw exactly how the AI creates targeted, rubric aligned feedback while saving you hours of time. Now that we have successfully applied our prompts, we are ready to move on to our fourth learning objective, evaluating this AI generated feedback to ensure its accuracy, tone, and fairness. Now, let's talk about our fourth learning objective. Our fourth learning objective is auditing the quality of AI feedback. Very, very important point, right? Even with a perfect prompt, the teacher must always remain the final judge. We do this through three quick checks, right? We can do this with three quick checks. The first one is we have to verify the accuracy. We makes we make sure that the AI actually read the student work correctly and did not hallucinate or miss any key details. Very important point, right? Second is we review the tone. We want to ensure the notes and sound is the sound and the tone is encouraging, right? Constructive and completely appropriate for a high school student. Now, the third one is we monitor fairness. We check to make sure the AI is grading strictly against the rubric which we have provided and not introducing any unintended bias. You might wonder if we still have to check the AI, if we as a teacher still have to check the AI's work for mistakes or fairness, how do we actually save time? Now, the secret is very, very simple, right? Editing is always faster than writing from scratch, right? So, what AI does the heavy lifting for you as a teacher, organizing and drafting the response. Your job changes from a tired writer to a smart supervisor, right? Think about the math for a big class of 20 to 25 students. Grading the old way takes over 6 hours of non-stop writing. But by paper number 20, your brain is fried, right? Completely. But when AI writes the first draft, you just spend about 2 minutes checking each one. That means you can finish all 25 students in less than an hour. You are not cutting corners here, right? You are just using your time better to give every student great personalized feedback without burning yourself here out, right? Now, in this slide, let's when we audit AI feedback, right? Our first step is checking for factual accuracy. We do this by focusing on three areas, right? The first area is we look at spotting hallucination, right? And this is what I mentioned in my previous slide as well, right? That AI can sometimes make things up, right? It can. So we must always quickly verify that any data, quotes, or historical citation the AI mentions are actually real and accurate. Second, we focus on matching student work. We need to double check the feedback against the student text to ensure that the AI did not misunderstand a paragraph or miss a claim that was actually there. Now, the third point is we look at checking grammar rules. Very important, right? We validate that the AI syntax is style correction and grammar suggestions are completely correct before sharing them. By running these three quickly quality checks, you ensure that the feedback remains highly trustworthy. Now, the second part of our audit is ensuring a supportive tone, right? Very important, right? Technology should never feel cold, right? It should preserve and strengthen the student teacher relationship. We achieve this with three main goals here as well. First, what we do, we encourage clear, supportive feedback. We make sure that the AI actually highlights what a student did well, giving them a solid foundation of confidence. Second, we adapt the tone for students, right? Tone for students. The language should match their grade level. Very, very important point, right? Constructive and kind feedback rather than sounding like sounding like a harsh rigid machine, right? That's how we should be. Now, the third is we maintain positive learning relationship as well. So when feedback feels like a helpful dialogue rather than a penalty, student take motivated to grow. Student stays motivated, right? So this is very important, the third point. So by keeping a 100% focus on supportive dialogue, we ensure that technology assists our teaching without losing our human touch. Now, the third and the most critical piece of our audit is addressing grade bias. Very important point, right? As we use these tools, we have to keep a close eye on four key areas: avoiding language style bias, ensuring fair dialect evaluation, checking for understanding over polished style, and preventing inflated AI scoring as well. But why does AI look at language this way in the first place? So, to help us understand how these biases get trapped inside technology, I want to show you all a very quick video. And what this video is going to do, it explains exactly how human biases can accidentally end up in the data that trains these tools. And it gives us some great strategies on how to spot those errors with a critical eye. Let's look at the video now.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, has become increasingly prevalent in our daily lives, but it's important to understand that it is not without its flaws. When using AI tools, it's crucial to be able to identify bias and errors. Bias is prejudice in favor or against something, while errors are inaccuracies or mistakes in the data. Bias and errors in AI can show up in various ways. Identifying bias in generative AI chatbot answers requires careful analysis of the responses and an understanding of the potential sources of bias that can affect machine learning models. Here are some ways you can identify bias and errors. Number one, start by analyzing the language and tone of the chatbot's responses. Look for any patterns of language that seem to favor or exclude certain groups of people. Number two, look for any errors or inaccuracies in the chatbot's responses. If the chatbot consistently provides incorrect or misleading information about certain topics or groups of people, this may indicate bias or inaccurate data. Number three, test the chatbot's responses using a variety of different prompts and questions. If the chatbot consistently provides incorrect or discriminatory responses to certain types of questions or topics, this may indicate bias or errors in data. Number four, errors in AI can also be identified by analyzing the output or results of the model. For example, if a chatbot repeatedly gives incorrect responses or answers that don't make sense, then there may be an error in the model's programming. Number five, consider the context in which the chatbot was developed and is currently being used. Some chatbots may be designed to promote a particular agenda, perspective, or field, and this can lead to bias in the responses. Ultimately, identifying bias in generative AI chatbot answers requires a critical and analytical eye. As always, it is important to check multiple sources, verify information with other resources, and be mindful of the limitations of AI. By being aware of these strategies, students can ensure that the AI they use for research and other purposes is reliable and accurate. And taking a critical approach to AI ensures that we are using AI in an ethical and responsible way.
So now what we have now done, we have now achieved our fourth learning objective. We just looked at how to thoroughly evaluate AI generated feedback for accuracy, tone, and grade bias. By learning how to spot hallucination, adapt the tone of our students, and identify systematic bias using the insight for our video, right? We have ensured that the teachers always stays in total control of the final grade. Now that we know how to perfectly or properly audit the AI work, let us move on to our fifth and final learning objective, designing a practical classroom workflow that guides our student to use the feedback for independent revisions. Now, our fifth and final learning objective is designing the AI feedback revision cycle. This is where we bring everything together into a practical classroom routine. First, we will focus on structured AI feedback workflow design, right? What we do, we will build a step-by-step system to deliver these notes to our students efficiently, right? The second is we will map out a clear student revision pathway. Very, very important. What student know exactly how to read, sort, and process their feedback. Now the third is this pathway leads directly to the independent self-directed improvement, empowering students to take full ownership of fixing their drafts. Finally, this shifts your role as a teacher so you can act as a true learning facilitator. It changed, right? Spending less time writing, reading, and more time coaching students who need you most. Let us take a look at how to build this cycle. Now, to really understand the value of this cycle, let us compare traditional grading with AI assisted feedback. With traditional feedback, the teacher manually writes every comment, right? Which naturally leads to a delayed return cycle. Of course, because of time constraint, there is often limited revision guidance, resulting in a one-way communication flow where students just look at the grade and move on, right? But look at AI assisted feedback. We get instant feedback generation, allowing for our continuous revision cycle, right? When the student is in the zone, right? It provides clear, actionable improvement steps and offers interactive learning support for our students too. Now, this shifts the entire dynamics, turning grading from a slow, backward looking summary into a fast, forward learning tool. Now let us break down how this look in the classroom by following the four-step timeline. The timeline is mentioned here in this particular slide, right? So we start where we start? We start with the step one, the drafting phase, right? Where students outline and write draft one right in class, right? What in the next step two is the AI checkpoints. This is where students use our structured AI tool to get instant, simple feedback on that first draft without waiting days for a response. Now, then we move to this step number three, which is self-correction, right? Empowered by the AI suggestion, the students independently revise and sharpen their own draft assignment, right? And finally, we reach step number four, which is teacher's review. The teachers step back into the actually the guide the final improvement and add the official grades. So this workflow, what it does, it keeps the student active and moving forward, right? While saving your valuable time for that vital final review. Now, ultimately, this entire cycle is about developing writing autonomy, right? As outlined on this particular slide. We achieve this through three major shifts. First, we spark active engagement. So instead of passively waiting for a final grade from the teacher, the student become active participants in their own education, constantly actually editing their work as they write. Now, the second, it builds critical revision skills in the students, right? The student do not just blindly trust or blindly copy what AI tells them, right? They learn to evaluate AI suggestion critically, carefully choosing which edits actually make their argument stronger, right? And the third one is this continuous cycle drives skill mastery as well, right? So this repeated revision practice builds lasting writing habits, leading to the deeper learning and much better long-term academic outcomes too. So instead of just creating better essays, we actually are building independent, self-directed writers. Now, all right, everyone, let's do a quick challenge here as well, right? Let's look at the slide on your screen. If AI handles all the basic correction on an essay, teacher's primary role shifts from being an editor to being a what, right? So I really want you just to think about the teacher role from which to which it'll gonna change. And I do not want you to overthink as well, right? So let's see. So now I'll tell you that if you are thinking about the word like coach, guide, strategist, or mentor, you are exactly on a right place, right? Right. Exactly. You are thinking right. So there are plenty of other great words like these two, right? It's all about moving from fixing to facilitating. That is what the target is. Now, this brings us to the ultimate goal of this entire process, right? Refining the teacher's role so you can focus on deep mentorship. Technology never replaces you. Instead, actually, what it does, it frees you to do what you do best, right? So first, because the AI handles basic correction like grammar and simple source check, you are no longer buried under a mountain of this particular reading structure, right? Second, this allows the teacher to focus at deep mentoring, right? You can step away from the copy editing role and step into the advisor role. And the third, it gives you the time to support advanced student thinking, helping them push the boundaries of their topic, right? Rhetoric and their ideas too. Now, the fourth is it builds personalized learning conversations. Your interaction with your student shifts from a transactional grading to meaningful one-to-one coaching, right? By offloading these repetitive mechanics to the technology, we as teacher reclaim our time for the deep, life-changing mentoring that inspired us to become educators in the first place, right? That's what it happened, right? That's where we were. Now to wrap up everything here, right? Let us look at the big picture of how we are visualizing the feedback system and shaping the feedback future, right? So first, we are building an AI-driven feedback ecosystem design. This is a balanced ecosystem where technology actually take care of the automated repetitive tasks seamlessly. Right. The second is this creates an integrated revision workflow system. It connects the drafting, the AI checking, and the students editing into one smooth continuous loop. Now, the third is it leaves us with a sustainable classroom learning model. Teachers stop burning out from hours of grading and students stop burning out from hours from waiting weeks for the response, right? And the fourth is, and very important, is it yields more human teacher interaction, right? By letting technology handle the mechanics, we protect and amplify the most irreplaceable asset in the classroom, in our classroom, the human connection between you and your own students. So now when we use this cycle, we see a huge change in our students, right? They start taking real responsibilities of their own learning, of their own work, right? First, it encourages them to fix their own work. Second, it helps them how to work on their own, right? And the third is it keeps them actively improving their drafts, right? And fourth is it builds a strong long-term writing skills inside them too, right? So now look at this actually amazing number, 82% increase in independent revisions, right? And I'm sure you must have been thinking, where does this 82% came from? So it is actually based on a famous educational research done by Hathi and Temperley, right? And their data shows that with traditional, right, slow grading, fewer than 20% of students actually look at teachers' comment only to fix their papers. Most just check the grade. But with instant friendly AI checkpoints, that barrier is completely gone, right? So participation jumps to 100%, moving from under 20% to 100% is how we get this 82% boost, right? So proving that fast feedback turns passive students into active writers. Now, and with that, we have achieved our fifth learning objective as well, right? That you now know how to design a complete classroom workflow that guides students, your students, to use AI feedback for independent revisions. By setting up this smart routine, you are no longer the bottleneck in the writing process, right? You as a teacher. Instead, you have built a system where your student gets the instant support they need, learn to think critically about edits, and take the true ownership of their growth. So I really want to leave all of you with this final vital thought, right? So technology should not replace our connection with the students. It should clear away the paperwork so we have more time to connect. So at the end of the day, AI, artificial intelligence, is just a tool, right? It cannot inspire a student, it cannot see their hidden potential, and it cannot replace the care and the guidance of a real teacher. And there's a reality as well, right? By letting AI clear away the routine paperwork, we are not stepping away from our students, right? We are actually clearing the path to step closer to them. We should use this technology to bring more humanity, right? So more mentorship and more connection back into our classroom. So I really want to thank all of you to be the part of my master's class presentation. So if any of you have any questions, so you guys can write and I'll try and see if I can answer. So I thank you again one more time. And yeah, have a good day, all of you. Bye-bye. Oh, I do see some question here. So maybe I'm gonna try and see if I can answer one of them quickly. So now one of the question is, how do you handle a situation where the AI gives a student feedback that feels a bit off or biased? Oh, very, very good question, actually, right? So this is exactly why our professional judgment is irreplaceable, right? So if a tool actually misinterprets a student unique voice or misses a conceptual point, I as a teacher use it as a teaching movement, right? That's what I'm gonna do. I'll sit down with the student, I'll audit the AI response together with the student, and I'll try and show the student how to critically question technology rather than just accepting it blindly. So this is how I'll try and handle the situation. I do have another question here. As a teacher, how can I stop worrying about AI making my grading feel cold or detached? A very, very good question, actually, right? Another, right? And what I think is here, the trick is to remembering that AI handles the tedious proofreading, right? And not, it is not the heart of your teaching, right? That is very important to understand. And look at it as a core you let's look at it as a core teacher that clears away the basic grammar correction. This actually gives you more energy to step in as a mentor, focus on deep level thinking, and have those actually real face to face learning conversation that students actually remember. That's how I see it. Now, I do have another question here, right? That what is a practical way I can guide my students to actually use AI feedback instead of just ignoring it? So, I like setting up a dedicated AI checkpoint, right? This is what I mentioned in my master's class as well, right? Before they submit anything to me, right? A student run their own draft through the AI tool, and the key actually here is making them accountable for the edits. They have to choose which suggestion to keep or which to reject to strengthen their arguments, right? Which really builds their independent writing habits as well. So, okay, thank you everyone once again, and for the part of my master class. And I wish you a good day today. Have a good day, everyone. Bye bye.